and welcome to Just the News. I'm Faye. Thank you for joining us. This is where we give you only the news, no opinion, no drama, no fighting, just the information that you need to get through your day as a citizen. To begin with, of course, we're going to bring you the latest updates on the new variant of COVID that everyone is concerned about. The Union Health Ministry today confirmed 2 cases of the new variant, Omicron, that were discovered in our country. According to the Joint Secretary of the Union Home Ministry, Love Agarwal, both cases were identified in the state of Karnataka. Mr. Agarwal said, and I quote, "No severe symptoms of the Omicron variant of COVID-19 have been reported so far. All related cases have been found to be mild with symptoms. In all such cases in the country and across the world so far, there have been no severe symptoms. WHO has said its emerging evidence is being studied." The Karnataka Health Minister, Dr. K. Sudhakar, has also made a statement, and I quote, he said 2 people were found to be positive for the Omicron variant of COVID-19. One person was a 66-year-old South African national who has now returned to the country. The other person is a 46-year-old doctor who doesn't have any travel history. He is being observed carefully. According to WHO, Omicron cases have now been detected in more than 24 countries. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has said the travel bans imposed because of the new variant to isolate only one country or only one region are unfair and ineffective. Remember, most of the Western countries have banned flights and travel out of Africa or South Africa in particular, or the southern nations of Africa, because the Omicron variant was first reported in that region last week. Mr. Guterres added that instead of travel bans, countries should consider increasing testing of travelers. The UN Secretary General said, and I quote, "With a virus that is truly borderless, travel restrictions that isolate one country or one region are not only deeply unfair and punitive, they're also ineffective," end quote. He said countries that have reported the emergence of the new strain should not be collectively punished for identifying and sharing crucial science and health information with the world. Meanwhile, new infections are going up in South Africa. 8,500 new COVID infections were registered in a daily figure. This is almost double the 4,300 cases that was confirmed the previous day. According to Reuters, Omicron accounted for 74% of the 249 virus genomes sequenced in South Africa in November, according to the National Institute of Communicable Diseases in the country, which is collecting data as part of a wider network of genomic surveillance. There's also worrying news coming out of Germany. The country reported 67,186 new COVID cases in just one day. It also reported 446 deaths. This is the highest daily figure since February this year. Germany also reported 4 cases of the new variant. All of the 4 people were fully vaccinated. An update on the numbers from India. India reported 9,765 new COVID cases, 477 deaths in the last 24 hours. Maharashtra has watered down its guidelines that was announced yesterday. Remember, we told you the central government asked Maharashtra to relook at its guidelines and bring them in line with the guidelines that the rest of the country were using. So today we have the amended guidelines from Maharashtra that have come out. For domestic travel into the state of Maharashtra, passengers will either have to be fully vaccinated and show that certificate, or carry a negative RT-PCR test that's about 72 hours before boarding. Maharashtra has categorized 3 countries into high-risk countries, that's South Africa, Botswana, and Zimbabwe. Travelers coming into the state of Maharashtra from these 3 countries will have to undergo an RT-PCR test on arrival and mandatory 7-day institutional quarantine. Earlier, Maharashtra had issued these guidelines for all countries. Delhi's Health Minister Satyendra Jain has announced that RT-PCR tests will be mandatory for all international travelers landing in Delhi. If a passenger is tested positive, he or she will be kept in strict isolation and their samples will be sent in for genome sequencing in order to figure out which variant it is. If a passenger tests negative, they will have to undergo 7 days of home quarantine as well. Moving away from COVID, and this is a very telling, very worrying story. The Union Social Justice and Empowerment Minister, Ramdas Athavale, informed Parliament today that out of the 43,797 identified manual scavengers in India, 42,594 belong to the scheduled caste. 421 were from scheduled tribes, and 431 were from other backward classes. This means that there are about 350 who are not in any of these categories, or what one might call a general category. Remember, this year in the winter session, the centre informed the parliament that there were no deaths at all due to manual scavenging in the last 5 years, a statement that was refuted strongly by human rights groups who said that that is not true. Manual scavenging is the practice of physically removing human excreta by hand from sewage tanks and septic tanks. Prohibitive employment of manual scavengers and the Rehabilitation Act of 2013 bans the practice, but it still continues in almost all of our cities and states, including our national capital. In 2019, in fact, Oxfam had said in one of its reports that 99% of those involved in manual scavenging are Dalits. Among them, 95% are women. The job, according to Oxfam, is like forced labor or slavery, since they're barely able to take up any other occupation due to the discrimination and the debt bondage. Apart from having to earn their livelihood by manually carrying human waste, these workers are also forcibly kept away from the public sphere because of the jobs that they have. The other severe problem that plagues this industry is the lack of safety gear, the lack of health insurance, and the lack of any sort of care from either government or their employers, city and state. An update from Parliament. Lok Sabha passed the Assisted Reproductive Technology Regulation Bill 2020 today. The purpose is the establishment of a national registry and a registration authority for IVF clinics and clinics that are, or any sort of clinic that is involved right now in assisted reproductive technology. The bill aims to regulate this entire sector. So IVF centers, sperm and egg banks, and anything linked to that. It also outlines the need to formulate standard operating procedures to ensure uniform costs and global quality standards according to the bill. The Union Health Minister Mansukh Mandavia, who tabled this new bill, said, and I quote, "Many clinics have been running in the country without regulation. There is a need to regulate such clinics because of the implication that they have on the health of those who undertake the procedure. If there's no regulation, unethical practices will increase." End quote. There was criticism for the bill from the Congress. Congress's Karti Chidambaram said the law is Victorian because it does not include the rights of the LGBTQI community or single people, men or women, from using IVF facilities. It basically leaves them out, and that is discriminatory. In Delhi, the State Environment Minister Gopal Rai has announced that schools in Delhi will be closed starting tomorrow until further notice because of the pollution. Remember, schools were shut for 2 weeks, resuming again on Monday. The decision comes after the Supreme Court pulled up the Delhi government today for the deteriorating air quality. Chief Justice Ramana asked, and I quote, "We feel that nothing is happening and pollution keeps increasing. Only time is being wasted." Of course, the Supreme Court also questioned the Delhi government for asking adults who go to office to work from home to avoid pollution by making children come to school. The court has given the Delhi government a 24-hour ultimatum and neighboring states to act against industrial and vehicular pollution immediately. AQI in Delhi today was 429. It's a severe category. It is not good for anyone. Construction activities, remember, all except the Central Vista project have been shut completely in Delhi. Coming to that Central Vista project, the central government informed the Supreme Court that while all construction activities in Delhi have come to a halt, the Central Vista project cannot stop because it is, and I quote, "of national importance." The Urban Affairs Ministry, in its affidavit, assured the Supreme Court that the project to build a new Parliament building will not cause any pollution. The ministry went on to say that the project complies with the construction and demolition waste management rules, each and every condition which is out to ensure that it does not cause any pollution. The government has said that measures like anti-smog guns, mist spray system, dust suppressants, conveyor belts to transfer construction material are being followed. So obviously, the Central Vista project will continue. An update from the Delhi High Court commenting on the dengue situation in Delhi. The High Court has said that there's complete paralysis of administration and no one is bothered about the deaths of people. The High Court said, and I quote, "If elections were fought and won or lost on real issues, we would have a very different city. It doesn't look that way today. They're being fought on what is free." Delhi reported 8,276 dengue cases this year, out of which 6,739 were reported in the month of November alone. 9 people have died of dengue in Delhi this year. Former Mumbai Police Commissioner Parambir Singh has been suspended by the Maharashtra government. This is after he was named in several FIRs for extortion and also termed an absconder by one of the courts in Mumbai. Singh is facing, of course, FIRs in Mumbai and its satellite towns after the seizure of explosives outside Antilla and the murder of Thane businessman Mansukh Hiren. Senior Police Inspector Pradeep Sharma and Assistant Police Inspector Sachin Vaze were arrested in the case. Thereafter, Parambir Singh alleged that the government and the Home Minister Anil Deshmukh had asked him to make collections of 100 crore rupees from businesses in the city. Union Minister Nitin Gadkari informed Parliament that the National Highway Authority has suffered great losses due to the farmer protest in the last 1 year. He said that the losses amounted to 2,731 crore rupees because the farmers did not allow the toll bridges on the national highways to collect money for the entire year. Haryana and Punjab suffered losses of more than 1,000 crore rupees each. Rajasthan registered a loss of 142 crore rupees. Mr. Gadkari said the businesses at the toll plazas continue to remain affected as farmers have not yet vacated those sites. A little bit of politics, though, in India, after West Bengal's chief minister, who was visiting the city of Mumbai, made a remark saying that there is no UPA, and also took a dig at Congress leader Rahul Gandhi, saying he keeps going abroad to enjoy. How will people trust him? The Congress has now hit back. Congress General Secretary K.C. Venugopal has said everybody knows the reality of Indian politics. If you're thinking that without Congress anybody can defeat BJP, it's merely a dream. Senior Congress leader Kapil Sibal also said without the Congress, UPA will be a body without a soul. Time to show opposition unity. Taking you through news coming in from across the world right now, China's foreign ministry on Wednesday summoned the Japanese ambassador in Beijing for an emergency meeting after former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe said that Japan nor the US, neither Japan nor the US will stand by China if it attacked Taiwan. China's assistant foreign minister has said these comments openly challenge China's sovereignty and gave brazen support to Taiwanese independence forces. An update from the world of sports. Retired Indian athlete Anju Bobby George has won the Woman of the Year award by World Athletics for grooming talent and encouraging Indian girls to take up sports and fight for gender equality. Anju Bobby George made history when she won the bronze in the long jump of the 2003 World Championships in athletics in Paris. With this achievement, she became the first Indian athlete to win a medal in World Championships athletics. And a piece of positive news, the US's United Airlines has made history after it operated the first ever commercial flight, which is 100% sustainable fuel in one of its 2 engines. The jet engine of the aircraft was fueled with non-petroleum feedstocks, which uses leftovers from agriculture, wood mills, and other sources. The flight had 100 passengers on board and 500 gallons of sustainable fuel in one engine, 500 gallons of traditional jet fuel in the other engine. It's a historic step that has proved that sustainable aviation fuels can deliver the same performance as jet fuel with a far, far lower carbon footprint. That is indeed good news. That brings us to the end of the news. Thank you so much for listening. We've also uploaded a whole story onto our YouTube page where we talk about why Africa feels that its treatment and the world's reaction to the new COVID variant is racist. That's on our whole story. Do take a look at it. Thank you for watching. Good night.